Are these whoops or braking bumps? What's up, my dudes? We got the 2023 High Point RF track review. This may sound crazy, but I swear to Pastrana, this is the most like a 2017 style pro motocross track that RF has made since the 2017 days. This is the most like it when it comes to scaling, overall width of the track, you know, the kind of speed you can go, how you can over jump some of the jumps, the pre-made, the flow of the ruts, all that kind of stuff. This is the closest I have seen them get to that 2017, you know, Glory Day MX Simulator Pro Motocross track, Spency boy tossing it. So that obviously makes this track really good in my opinion because it's so similar to the 2017 days. I don't know what the hell they was doing last week with that Thunder Valley track, but that track was dog shit. I mean, terrible. That was like one of the worst RF motocross tracks that I have ever rode on. So they go from making one of the worst ones I feel like they've ever made to one of the best since the 2017 days. So they're still kind of going a little bit all over the place here, but thank God they're at least trying to do, you know, something like the 2017 style. I think that Hangtown and High Point have been the closest to that as far as the 2023 RF tracks. There's a lot of spots on this track where you can over jump, you know, by 69 foot and still land it and actually make up some time by doing it. Like, there's just these really particular things you'll notice on this track if you rode back in the 2017, 16, 15 days. Even the feeling of the dirt, like the tile map, feels very similar to a 2017 pro motocross track to me, whereas their track from last week, their Thunder Valley track, felt nothing like the traction of a 2017 track. I don't know what the hell they was doing at that traction last week, but this is much better. Everything about this track is better than last week. The traction, the flow of the ruts. This is that kind of width. You gotta have the track at least this wide, or I feel like it makes it feel kind of weird. Like, and it's not as good for racing. You know what I'm saying? Like, this track right here to me feels wide enough where you can actually race 40 dudes on it and it doesn't feel so cramped down and tiny and tight. You know what I'm saying? They got this quad right here. There is, you know, a couple spots where you feel like you can actually jump somewhat off of the ground, you know what I'm saying? Their track, again, their Thunder Valley from last week felt like you were playing a fucking, like a damn MXGP game or something. Like, there's barely anywhere you were going to come off the ground. Now, they do still have a couple of invisible walls on this track, which is complete bullshit, obviously, but there could even be more jump skill gap and fun factor and bigger rhythms and bigger jumps you could hit on this track if they didn't have the invisible walls. But, you know, RF's got some weird idea that they need to put invisible walls. You can jump one jump on the track by 390 foot, or you can't jump that 100-foot jump because it wouldn't be realistic. It's bizarre as hell. I don't know why they do that, but yeah, there is at least two invisible walls on this track. Some of the jumps that, like, would be really fun to hit, but it's like kind of, you think in your head that probably would be somewhat unrealistic. Those are the ones that have the invisible walls on them. So, but there are some ruts. There's some major roughness in certain spots of the track. Definitely not everywhere. It still has a little bit of that, like, modern day RF style roughness to it on this track right here, but I don't know, dude. There's just something about this track that I feel like it had a nice balance of, like, jumps, you know, ruts, pre-made ruts, roughness, high speed sections, low speed sections. It kind of has a little bit of everything, which I think is critical when you're making one of these pro motocross tracks. You don't just want it to be all based around like slow corner speed or something like that. You want to have a nice little variation of jumps, big jumps, small jumps, roughness, braking bumps, ruts. But just, it's the flow of the ruts on this track. That's what I feel like really made this track feel fun to me compared to some of their other ones. They've just got that right kind of, you can really carry the speed around. There's this nice little fun jump. You got to be careful there, boys. But there is a fun jump right there you can hit. Be mindful of when you're going around it. But yeah, it definitely seems like RF is coming out of the weird dark age of these pro motocross tracks that they seem to have been stuck in for the last 5 years. Seems like they're starting to come out of that a little bit, which is, it's a sigh of relief, dude. I'm telling you. I mean, you boys know I've been ranting on these shits for like 5 years, and for good reason. There was good reason for it. And I don't know any better proof of that or example of that than them basically going directly back to making the tracks like they did before they started the whole Erode fiasco and RF shutting down and coming back. It's like, I don't know what better proof you need, of me shitting on the tracks and saying how bad they were with the flat tracking, weird traction built around a road, not enough pre-made, not enough skill gaps, small jumps, all these things I was saying. It's just so funny because it's like, oh, now RF wants to start going back to making the tracks like a 2017 style with the, the better dirt decals again and the pre-made and the character and the ruts. And it's almost like, the last 5 years were a complete failure. That's almost like what it was, wasn't it? It's almost like all those tracks they were making from 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022 was a complete failure. Otherwise, why would they totally go backwards to making the tracks like they did before all that? You see my point? So, anyways, yeah, it's kind of like, you can tell RF is not wanting to let go of the Erode system even still, which is interesting because they're literally getting to the point now where they've got so much pre-made that you basically don't even need the Erode system anymore. So they're still kind of playing around with that certain pre-made level, but then trying to do Erode on it, but then it feels like it's got too much Erode because there's more pre-made. You see what I'm saying? But yeah, every track they've made this year so far has felt dramatically different from one another. Like the first round felt totally different than the second round. The Thunder Valley felt like literally a completely different track than this track feels like right here. So they're still trying to kind of figure out what they're going to do. They're still not to that point where it's like consistent like it was back in the 2017 days. But it seems like they're trying to get closer to that. So, you got to take the positives here. But I'm just telling you, there was a reason why. A lot of you boys thought, good Lord, Spence, it seems like you're just complaining all the time. Literally for the last 5 years, it seems like that's all I've really done is complained. And it's like, yeah. I mean, do you see why now? Do you see why I was doing that now? It's like, yeah, dog. That's the whole point. Like, now you see why. Now it seems like these tracks are so much better and all these things. It's because they deprived you of the pre-made and the roughness. This is that section right here. These braking bumps right here will literally flip your bike over if you don't know what you're doing through them. This is how most of the pre-made braking bumps should be on these tracks in every section. Not just one section on the track. You see what I'm saying? Look how much the bike is moving. That's braking bumps right there, dog. Whatever the hell they had on those tracks for the last 5 years was not braking bumps. I hate to break it to you, but those were not braking bumps. Those were like little shitty little wannabe bumps. So it's nice to see some braking bump skill gap being brought back and some rut size. Now all they really got to do is take away the invisible walls, make the roughness a little bit more in certain spots, make some of the ruts a little bit bigger in certain spots, and then I think they're locked in on this shit, dogs. I mean, I think they're really close to getting it back to that point, but they can't keep going back and forth, you know? That's the thing. It's like, yeah, if they made all of their tracks like this high point track right here, all of their 2023 Pro Motocross tracks like this right here, it would be great. But that's not what they've done. They've kind of went back and forth between that weird new school style and then that good old school style. You know, that Thunder Valley track was weird fuck, bro. It was weird AF, bro. I don't know what the hell that track was, but I guess that's my point is, even though they've started to make some of their 2023 tracks like the 2017 style, it's not like they've made all of their tracks like that. So, you know, they're still kind of going through a bit of a testing phase or a figuring out what they really want to do kind of phase. It's a bit weird, but hopefully they've realized that this is a lot better of a track design right here than like their Thunder Valley style track. Way more skill gap on this track. Way more potential for separation. There's just all different kind of line options, all different ways to hit these lines. This is a solid track right here. And you know, you guys think I just bash on RF or I just complain to complain. Bro, there was a reason for it. Did you see the tracks that RF was making back in 2019 and 2020? If you didn't, you need to go back and ride on them. There was a fucking reason why I was ranting so hard on those tracks. And there's a reason why I'm being positive about some of these 2023 tracks. There's always a reason. People want to try to paint me out to be this hater boy and all this other shit. But you real ones, see, you know, it's all a truthful thing. I'm just telling you the truth. I'm just telling you what it is. It's just RF went so long with thinking that they were doing it right by having very little pre-made, very little ruts, very little roughness. And now they're basically proving to you that the last 5 years was a complete failure. They should have never started doing the tracks differently than they did back in 2017. They're now proving all of that to you, what I've been telling you for the last 5 years. Okay? So, thank you, RF, for proving all of that. It took you long enough, but thank you for doing that, because now people can see how right I've been this entire time. It's like, what else can RF do? You see what I'm saying? All they can do is make it more like a 2017 track. All they can do is make the roughness and the ruts bigger and bigger and the jumps bigger. And that's all they can do. That's all they can try to do to make the tracks better. Make the ground decal more and more realistic and better looking. That's all they can do. It's like, when you go back and look at it, the 2017s were just better than the shit that they've been doing for the last 5 years. It's just better. It's just better. I swear, Spitzy Boy is so right about this shit. Oh, man. Oh, man, not again. So anyways, stay on this vibe right here, RF. This is the right kind of way to go with track designs. Don't make your next track like that stupid-ass Thunder Valley track, and you'll be a lot better off. I tried to tell you. If RF would have listened to me back in 2019, we wouldn't have had to went through all that bullshit the last 3 or 4 years. They would have been making their tracks better back in 2019 or 2020. But RF gets so stuck in their ways, and all the little RF fanboy defender boys want to, oh, RF can't do nothing wrong, bro. RF's doing everything fine, bro. Spencer's just a big complainer, bro. Oh, That's funny, dude. That is funny, dude. Well, you can't say that some of you boys that said that kind of stuff, you can't be a fan of this right here and also be a fan of the shit that they were doing for the last 5 years. So you're going to have to make up your mind, bro.